Thanks, Steve. Wow.
Sorry, it's proper presents here, I'm not that tight.
I was actually going to use the clippers. Well, good afternoon to one and all. I would have said ladies and gentlemen, but I do happen to know a lot of you better. So, thank you for coming to what has been a superb day up to this point. So I hope I don't spoil it. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Peel, and I am indeed the best man. If you don't believe me, you can just ask the wife, she's sat over there. As I am sure, if you've looked along the top table, you will have noticed I am quite clearly the odd one out. Yes, that's right, you guessed it. I am the only adult male on here with a full head of hair. I can stop shaking now. I must thank Steve on behalf of the Flower Girls for his kind words about them. I'm sure you will agree they look absolutely gorgeous. And I would like to say, Michelle, today you look absolutely fantastic. I'm sure you all agree she certainly is, in every sense, a very beautiful bride. I was absolutely thrilled when Steve asked me to be his best man, as I am sure there were probably some other obvious candidates for the job. So at this point, I feel I should pay tribute, just to Mark's reluctance to stand up and speak in public, Jars's reluctance to speak to anybody, and last but not least, Wally's dentist. So thank you very much. I was also a little nervous as to how my speech would go down with all you good people here, whether or not it would be funny enough, see? So I thought the best thing to do would be to find a captive audience and to go and rehearse it in front of all of them. So what I did was I went down to my dear old mum's residential care home, and I got all the residents together in the day room and I recited it all out to them. And I must say, I can tell you, it seemed to go down very well indeed. Well, they all pissed themselves anyway. When she said that'd never work, I told her that. Right, the first time I really remember meeting Steve was when I was 4 years old at Harbury First School. I actually remember the day well. It was a Friday and we were allowed to bring in our pets to school. So I brought in my hamster. Steve bounded over to me, stuffed his finger in the cage and goes, "What's this thing? Gerbil?" Like, at this point the hamster bit him. "Oh, me finger!" Blood coming out of it, he was saying. I turned and looked at him and said, "No mate, it's not a gerbil, it's a hamster." And I thought to myself, well that serves you right kid, that was the first meeting. But even though Steve's 3 years older than me, we were in mixed classes at school. Steve will tell you that this was just to integrate us Asians into Harbury society. I actually know the real reason is because Steve was made to repeat the year 3 times. Until he can count from 1 to 10 unaided. Steve, as I'm sure you will all know, is very particular about how he has to have things. Everything at home has got to be tidy and put away. Everything's got to be just so. In his wardrobe, all his garments have to have 2 fingers between each coat hanger, or else he can't get into bed and go to sleep. His mum will tell you that when he was a young lad and he lived at home, if she was to make him beans on toast for his tea, she would pour the beans onto the toast. If one of those beans hit the plate before he started eating it, it was gone. He wouldn't touch it. And also he had a great love of oxtail soup as a kid, but he didn't like the bits of meat in it. So poor old Di had to sieve it all through before he did. And that is a true story. Right. As well as Steve and Michelle and the boys, and the Sky Blues, obviously, Steve has another great love in his life. That is his love of television. I can honestly say I have never known a bloke to watch so much crap. When he goes on holiday, he has to Sky Plus all 14 episodes of Coronation Street. And when he gets home, on his return, he'll spend a week cramming them all in so he can get back up to date and not miss anything. He also has this TV in his room, in his living room. He has a 50-inch TV. And just 52, I stand corrected. And in the corner of his sofa, he has a little telly in the corner, just so he can watch two things at once. He's just like Grandad, of only fools and horses. Lovely jubbly, hey lovely. Right, after school, Steve, he worked for several builders, and I know at times he had them tearing their hair out. Is that right, Mr. Warner? Where is he? Back there. He wound one of them up one day so much that the boss actually kicked the wall down that Steve had spent all morning building up. But after his brother Mark qualified as a bricklayer, they set up the Dream Team partnership that is still going strong to this day. For those of you who don't know Mark, he's over here. He usually spends all his weekends sat in the corner of the room with cold, wet towels draped all over his shoulders. This is due to the fact that he spent all week at work carrying Steve. I would also like to mention the stag night. I feel I should. I'm sure most of you know now, we had 3 nights in Benidorm, which all the 46 people who went on will probably tell you it was the stag night to end all stag nights. Well, 46 men and 1 woman, to be precise. You just never know you're going to bump into in Benidorm, do you? You never know. There are so many instances where Steve's done daft things when we've been out and about. It just made us laugh, and I could probably write a short book. Or maybe a little pamphlet anyway. I could tell you about the time that he missed an open goal from 18 yards at the Rico Arena. But that would be too easy. But I do want to share with you a couple of my favourites. One time, Wally was walking past Bill and Di's house, not long after Steve got his first car. It was the infamous Capri Gear.
When he wrapped around a tree in Covington.
Wally noticed that Steve was struggling to pour a 5-litre can of oil under the bonnet. "What are you doing?" asked Wally. "Topping me oil up," says Steve. "But it's going everywhere." Wally looks, and Steve is trying to pour the oil into the dipstick holder. It's true, it's true, it's true.
Never been one for cars, has he, Steve?
When we were young lads going out, Steve was never backwards in coming forward. One time, we were all out in Bolton. We were out with some lads we knew from up there. And we'd been to a nightclub, we'd been out all evening. And we were on the street at the end of the night. It was packed, the street was packed. We were all stood there deciding what we were going to do next. And this minibus full of girls come tearing past us, well, trundling past. And they're all hollering at us, "Right, boys, right!" And we all thought, "Oh God, look at them." Seeing this, Steve decides to run along the side of the bus, like this. Grabs the sliding door of the minibus, throws it open. Then he just sort of gets himself, like he used to go at the high jump at school. He just threw himself into the bus like this. Lands at the door shuts, the minibus goes. We all just stood there in amazement going, "Oh my God, what's he done now?" 20 yards down the road, the bus screeches to a halt, the door flies open. Steve comes flying out headfirst onto the pavement. He dusts himself down and walks back over to us. "Trust me to get a van full of lesbians," he said. Now, I would not say Stephen has got a sweet tooth, but he does take a fair bit of chocolate to work with him. But one evening, Steve got more than he bargained for. He was walking from the lounge to the kitchen in his house when he saw what he thought was a piece of chocolate in the hallway. Or what he thought was chocolate. So, he bends down, scoops it up in one motion, pops it straight into his mouth. Now, what it actually was while Michelle had been changing Leighton's napper, a bit of poo had fell out of the said nappy on the process of her transferring it into the rubbish bin.
No way.
I'll leave that one with you for a minute. Very good. Then there was a time that Bill and I were woken up in the middle of the night. Steve had been to the pub. Bill and I wake up. Di says to Bill, "Can you hear water? Can you hear..." "Oh, Bill, oh, we've got a burst pipe." So they jumped out of bed, only to find Steve stood at the top of the stairs, thinking he's in front of the toilet, peeing between the gap at the top of the balustrade and the newel post, onto the hard floor in the hallway. I bet they wish it was a burst pipe.
He's done that more than once.
And last but not least, my personal favourite. This also involves Steve's mum and dad. After we'd been on a particularly heavy night out, Bill and Di were woken by feeling something sliding and wriggling their way up between the pair of them while they were lying in bed. It was like a big wriggling worm. "What the hell are you doing?" shouts Bill. "I thought this was my bed," says Bill. "Get out!" Thank you. So now, after me spending 5 minutes,
12 and a half.
15 minutes, 12 minutes, getting you all to laugh at his expense, it's now time for me to say some nice things about him.
Have a think about it.
I will. Steve has been a true friend to me over the years, and you really could not wish to meet a nicer bloke. Today makes me very happy also, because I've known Steve and Michelle separately before they knew each other, and now I've known them as a couple, and you really couldn't get to meet a nicer couple. They're great friends to have and fantastic parents. And I know I speak for everybody in this room when I say I wish you both a lifetime of happiness. So, ladies and gentlemen, it leaves me just one thing to say, and that is to ask you all to be upstanding and raise a toast with me to the bride and groom. To Steve and Michelle. Thank you. Cheers, thank you.
Right, everybody, let's all enjoy ourselves now and relax, you know what I mean? And Andy's coming on again tonight, who was here earlier. He'll be back on at 8 o'clock. Alright, so all enjoy yourself and party.